2019 is loaded with top Nintendo franchises, and we expect those titles to be fan-freaking-tastic. We don't know exactly when they're coming, but they all have been given a year, and so we can safely expect them. But which one are we most excited for? A year that delivers Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, Pokemon, Yoshi, Fire Emblem. There's a lot to pick from here, Gabe, and we are today going to rank them from 9 to 1, and we want to hear your rankings, or at least your top few, and why, in the comments down below.
Absolutely. A ton of good games, a more heavy game-centric year than this year, so that makes me very happy.
It sure seems like it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's going to be a pretty easy list to start with, at least, because we're going to start at number 9.
And, right, and let me just preface this, and it's in the description, but just to give you the games, it is Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion 3, Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon 2019, Town, Daemon X Machina, Yoshi's Crafted World, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe.
Okay, and just to clear it up, we don't know what the order's going to be right now, and we kind of thought it'd be fun to just discuss it on video.
Fireside chat style.
Yeah, and you guys are going to see how we're going to come to this consensus, and hopefully we have a good time here. But I think we can get into number 9 here, Zach, which we're both going to agree on quite quickly.
I feel like this is such an easy thing because there are 9 games on this list, 8 of them are new, and 1 of them is a port. Therefore, New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe takes the 9th spot. Congrats, you're not number 10 because there aren't 10 options.
Yeah, there's a ton of content in there. There is an introduction of a new character to the world of Mario that I know you love.
I'm still stuck on Peachette. I don't understand it. I don't comprehend it. There have been weird developments in the real world that have affected my view of the Toad race, and it's been a very strange introduction of a character that I think will have shockwaves throughout the rest of 2019. But yeah, the game, I'm not saying it's gonna be bad. It'll probably be a decent value. They're gonna most likely price it at $60, which makes me a little bit weird. But yeah, to me, this is just like a no-brainer.
Maybe this should be number 1 on the list just because of Peachette.
Because of Peachette? Okay,
yeah.
Let's go to 8. So 9 is New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. 8 for me is also pretty obvious, and it is the one that Nintendo has the least involvement with, and that would be Daemon X Machina. I know you like it more, so if you have any pitches or final words here, I don't know what they call it, like when someone runs into a wedding and is like, stop, now's your chance.
Yeah, so speak now or forever hold your peace.
Exactly. Yes, basically.
Okay, so no, I'm probably going to concede because I want to fight my battles later, and we'll probably go with Daemon X Machina here.
Yeah,
but so okay, let's talk about the game before I talk about the game I wanted to be in this spot instead. It's a cool mech robot game that you can play co-op with, and I don't know, it kind of seems interesting. There's going to be online, there's going to be story stuff. You can get off of the giant robot at some point and just walk around as a person. And if the story's cool, the gameplay seems sort of interesting. I know you say it kind of seems like it's not of this time, that it's a little bit old, but we haven't played it, so I'm still curious about it, and it's coming earlier in the year, so that's another reason why I'm probably a little bit more excited for it than some of these other games. But yeah, I don't want to fight too much. We'll make Daemon X number 8. I think that's the right call, right?
It could be fun. It could be a great game. It just, to me, it seems like something that maybe is from 7-8 years ago or something of the sort. It just has that feel of I feel like it's very focused on one thing, and so many games of today are very expansive. They have breadth and scope, and this just, at least at based on what I've seen, doesn't seem to have it. So let's move on. That's 8. 7 is starting to get interesting because I have 2 that I would consider putting here, Gabe. There's obviously heavy hitters that are just inevitably saved for later, but to me it's a close draw tie between Yoshi's Crafted World and Town, specifically because Town is a complete unknown, and maybe we're just not interested in that game at all once we find out exactly, what it is mechanically.
I cannot allow Town to be number 7, Zach. It has to be. Okay. It has to be Yoshi. It's more of a known quantity. We've had games like this in the past, and not that Kirby and Yoshi are super similar. I'm not saying that they are, but
they kind of are.
Yeah,
just
but
from a thematic intended audience standpoint, I think they definitely are as comparable as you're going to get in terms of crossing 2 franchises.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong,
Yoshi Kirby game is what I really want to see happen. They need to hook up, meet up.
They both swallow stuff.
They do both swallow stuff. It's perfect, okay? Kirby swallows and Yoshi spits. Not sure if that's taking it a little too far, but it works out pretty well in my head.
Okay. I'm still semi-excited for Yoshi. It's very cutesy.
It's very cute. They have paper plates. I'm all about paper plates in my video games.
I mean, crafts in general are incredibly cutesy, and I'm now at a point where I have like little, at this point, nieces and nephews who are like so
You're
young.
A big craft guy? Is that what you're saying?
No,
like
but they come over, they play like Mega Man and stuff on my consoles, and I'm like, okay, like these kids are
Mega Man. That's not for little children.
Hey, these
Game's
children
too hard for us.
Nah, these children are figuring it out. So I feel like this is a fun game that I can play with them and not like be bored.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
no,
yeah.
and there is value. Like Woolly World, I think is a very good game. It's not one that is going to ever climb any game of the year list for me, but it's like an enjoyable romp. I think that's a fair way to say it.
Sure.
It's like a Disney movie.
Yeah, no argument for me.
All right, so Yoshi's Crafted takes 7. Are we willing to put Town at 6?
Okay. I'm honestly like quite excited for Town.
But what of the then you have 5 major Nintendo franchises that I don't see how you could possibly leapfrog.
Yeah, so maybe we just make the easy call here on Town because these other ones are going to be way harder to remember.
Save the energy for later.
Yeah, but I do want to go ahead and give a shout out to Town. I'm excited to see what Game Freak does with a game like this and set in a town. Like that might be like limiting to some people, and some people might be like put off by it. But I feel like that makes it so they're in this like creative bubble that they need to like burst out of. Like you got to you got to do something really cool if your entire game isn't take place in one town.
I just love the first time I brought it up to you. I was like, I don't understand how they're going to make a whole game, that's probably 50, 60, 70 hours in scope out of a town. You're like, we don't know how big this town is. As if like this town could be a continent-spanning town.
Zach, it might be like the town of New York.
Do you think, given the focus on the town, that there is any sort of like building aspect or any creation aspect that could be a part of this?
Oh, we have
no way of knowing.
Probably not. Yeah. Like, they haven't shown that at all. I have no reason to believe that that's going to be in there, so I'm not going to even consider that. From what we've seen, it's a more like traditional like RPG like experience that is like Game Freaky. So
it does have like that very cutesy animated art. I hope that it airs more on the side of hardcore, especially coming on the heels of Pokemon Let's Go. Like it would be nice to see them kind of take their talents in a direction that was not only separated from the Pokemon franchise, but allowed them to maybe go deeper into things that they really enjoy and like. And I think, to me, putting it right there is the perfect spot because at number 6, it could go either way. If it turns out to be like just a cutesy kiddie RPG that maybe isn't even full price, then okay, it slides down a little bit. But if it does deliver this, it is one of the only new IP on the list outside of Daemon X Machina. So like maybe it does impress and it's able to kind of climb the ranks. But it's at such a nebulous point right now, given just a small trailer and no real details. To me, that's perfect.
You know what this reminds me of, and I don't know if you played the game whatsoever, but the game has a very special place in my heart for a reason that we'll get into. Blue Dragon. Do you remember that?
Ooh, yeah, it does kind of have that vibe a bit.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Blue Dragon was so divisive in itself because it was like quality, but and like the graphics at the time were so pretty and it had like that fun art, but it was so antiquated when you kind of like unwrapped the pretty exterior.
Yeah, so again, those are like the vibes I'm getting here. So, yeah, I honestly like Blue Dragon. So if it turns out like that, I'm a happy camper.
Sure. All right. So now we're down to our 5 remaining games, and this is where things get real tricky, and a lot of personal preference is probably going to come in. So we're left with Metroid Prime 4, just to clarify, Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion 3, Pokemon 2019, and Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Do any of those stand out to you as one that you want to kind of start to slide into that slot?
Yes, people don't hate us. Animal Crossing, right?
Ooh.
People don't hate us. It's just us. Like, the way that you and I play video games and the reasons you and I play video games. Animal Crossing hasn't historically been for us. And not that we don't like the franchise. Like, the franchise is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more excited for these other ones. But that's just me. I don't know if you're going to agree with me or if you want to maybe fight for it to have a higher spot. How do you feel?
It's hard. I feel like these 5 are very close, and given little detail on a lot of them, it's kind of just, like you said, based on love and like and hype and hope. Part of me wants to put Luigi's Mansion 3 here just because I don't know the scope of that, and if it is literally just going to be another Luigi's Mansion in the same vein as either 1 or Dark Moon, Like, I don't, in 2019, is that a game that's super exciting?
But in any year, has Animal Crossing been super exciting for you?
No, but one thing I love is to fall into franchises that I didn't previously enjoy, and if they are going to try something brand new with Animal Crossing, or at least really expand upon it, like this could be an opportunity to really get in. I just feel like, given the Switch, the portability, the home console nature, like they probably can do very cool things here at a AAA development level that maybe weren't as possible on the portable systems.
Okay, so you're saying you're more excited for Animal Crossing than Luigi's Mansion 3?
Because I've always wanted to like Animal Crossing. It's got cute characters. It's got cool colors. It has obsessive, addictive gameplay. It hasn't hooked me yet, but if it does, like that could be a major title.
But what if Luigi's Mansion 3 hooks you? And what
does Luigi's Mansion 3 have multiplayer or just some really cool elements or unique gameplay? I mean,
look, if Reggie came into the room right now and said, hey Zach, you get to play 2 hours of either Luigi's Mansion 3 or Animal Crossing.
I'm playing Luigi's Mansion 3. Okay, all right, we're gonna be the bad sheep, the black sheep, and I guess put Animal Crossing at 5.
There we go. Yeah, and again, we all know everyone loves Animal Crossing.
Hey, I would love to see this be the underdog for us. It's not for others, given like the insane enthusiasm over that trailer. But if it could come from behind and be something that surprises, let's put it at 5, so there's a chance to really impress, to really like come from behind, be an underdog. Gotta love those stories. Okay, down to the top 4. I'm trying to decide how much I value Fire Emblem in my head versus in actuality, because I will be honest and say I've never completed a Fire Emblem game, but I do really enjoy them. This one looks really cool. It's hard for me to see not enjoying it, but will it be something that I like get all the way through and wow, I just can't put it down?
For me, Luigi's Mansion is what belongs here, in my mind at least. For me, Fire Emblem is far above the spot, so because you're gonna get like such great value out of Fire Emblem. It's presumably, I mean, I can't imagine it's shorter, but it's going to be a way longer experience. It's going to be a way deeper experience. It's a true tactical RPG where there's like giant battles and stuff like that. And Luigi's Mansion doesn't offer that. It offers something that it offers, and it does very well. But
I'm just kind of wanting to like reverse course and put this instead of Animal Crossing.
Zach, that's done.
I feel like it has to be Fire Emblem Three Houses here.
No way, Zach. You're more excited for Luigi's Mansion 3 than Fire Emblem?
You really talked it up to me. And in general, I think...
what up to you, Luigi's Mansion?
You built Luigi up for me. I also feel like Fire Emblem is going to be we know it's going to be an early year title, and at some level that makes me less excited.
That makes me more excited.
I mean, it's pretty clear what our top 3 are, I think. But you're trying to say that you want Fire Emblem Three Houses to be a top 3 title.
I want it to be it's a top 2 title for me.
Oh gosh,
that's how strongly I feel about Three Houses. Oh, this is this is the tricky part. All right, so make a case for Yoshi. I mean, for Luigi's Mansion. Make a case for it.
Okay, so here's the case that I'm going to make for it. Now that I've completely like flipped off of the meh train, and now I'm onto the Poltergeist hype train. I really am a bigger fan of games that you have direct control over, of games that encourage that kind of Nintendo hands and the controller feel. I feel like they nail that constantly, and the scope and scale of that world, if it is delivering on a improved version of that idea, in the same way that we saw Zelda take advantage of this new generation and Mario take advantage of this new generation. If Luigi is able to do that and we get introduced to new characters or maybe new mechanics within, perhaps it's even a bigger world. Maybe it's not limited to just one mansion or 2 mansions, but maybe Luigi gets to venture outside of the mansions, and they scope this out to be more of a Mario style game. I'm not saying in terms of gameplay Luigi's not going to be running and doing backflips, but if there is an opportunity to utilize the Switch, and this being the first truly dedicated like sequel that is on a console since the original on GameCube, like things have evolved so much. And yes, the 3DS game was really good and it did build, but think about what they could do now, taking that formula and now expanding upon it, and what they could bring. I think the lore and world of Luigi's Mansion is going to deliver far more lovable characters than Fire Emblem, at least for me. Like, I'm okay with the Chroms and the Roys and the Marths of the world, but I'm never gonna want, I'm never gonna have my Switch avatar picture be a Fire Emblem character. But if there's some crazy like Egad's son, or a strange amalgamation of a ghost and some Nintendo boss, that's kind of alluring.
Sure, but all this excitement that you're talking about Luigi's Mansion is offered like hypotheticals that may or may not even happen.
Well, I mean, we have a minute of Fire Emblem, so...
Sure, but we know it's going to be an epic game. We know the story itself is going to be epic. We know that these games are touching and that there's consequence to the story, and there's a lot there. There's a journey that you're probably not going to take with Luigi's Mansion 3.
Here's my biggest thing then, what I'll go to on just like a boil it all down. There's nothing really like Luigi's Mansion 3. There are other strategy games that exist on the Nintendo Switch, and there will be other RPG strategy type titles that even release in 2019 on the Switch, but Luigi's Mansion will occupy a spot that is wholly its own.
Okay, then I guess we'll go with Luigi's Mansion 3. I don't feel great about it, but...
No, we're going with Fire Emblem.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Fire Emblem.
Okay, so number 4 is Fire Emblem. I let you put my hopes and dreams of Animal Crossing being my new hit at 5, so we're going to put Fire Emblem Three Houses at 4, and then move on to the top 3, which I feel is going to fall into place quite easily.
Sure, I mean,
maybe?
just throw Luigi's Mansion, right?
I think.
We've spoken about it.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I mean...
3 for 3?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so Luigi's Mansion 3 at 3, and I don't feel like there's going to be much argument for the 2-in-1 battle at all. At least I'm not predicting it. Pokemon 2019, in theory, will be phenomenal, given that they are using it as their chance to sort of, I believe, kind of innovate and reformulate for a home console, and it should, by all accounts, be a big step forward. It's a new generation of characters, and you would think that they would utilize it to not only improve the graphics, but also the gameplay and the mechanics. They will still, retain majority of the systems, but I feel like if there's ever a time to really change up the formula, this would be it.
Yeah, but we're not going to argue about this one. I think, number one's going to be number one. Mm-hmm. But I actually think that they might keep it a little more traditional than what you are thinking.
Which does worry me, yeah.
Yeah, because they've said that. They're like, hey, we're going to have a core, Pokemon experience that's more traditional to what people expect next year. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be what the sentiment has been. So, I mean, maybe it's not as revolutionary as you think, but regardless, it's still going to be a Pokemon game, and it's very hard not to be excited for a new generation of Pokemon, right?
Right, especially if they do build upon the graphics already established in Let's Go. Those look so good, and we've spoken on how in person it's just it's very captivating to see them all running around. It's very captivating to see the colors and the vibrance of that. So that alone will be cool. If it is just, hey, the next Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, it to me slides down. I mean, so much of this is what really is the game, but to me, if that is the case, then it bumps down probably to 5.
Sure, but for now, it's at number 2 as our second.
We have extreme hope. Yeah,
the hope is definitely there, and hope is all we have for the next game because we have a title screen. That's all we've seen.
But I think this is going to be Nintendo's big ticket title of 2019. Obviously, Pokemon will be the top seller, but I feel like in terms of the energy and the just innovation / impressiveness is going to be all behind Metroid Prime 4. I feel like it has been such a long time coming. And I don't know, Nintendo, they don't do this type of game ever. And so bringing it out, bringing it back, and having it be sort of the focal title outside of Pokemon, of course, for the fall, and it being a little bit more adulty, a little bit more hardcore, and definitely having that just huge fandom behind it. I think this one's going to be absolutely incredible. And even just on pedigree alone, the Metroid Prime games reviewed very well. They're very fun. They're very cool to play. I think this is going to be, again, this is their E3 showstopper.
Yeah, an exploratory first-person shooter, usually made by Retro. Retro's probably not behind it this time, so that's even that's exciting. Just hey, who's making this thing?
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to have a multiplayer aspect of some kind that's also exciting. Just like to see like visually how this thing looks. Like there's a lot here that's intriguing. There's a lot that they can do, and if they can like somehow like flesh this out, you mentioned like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey doing things to like go to the next level. The next level of Metroid Prime is going to be absolutely insane. If they can like make this work, like this has opportunity to be like game of the year.
Oh, for sure. So well, there's two elements that I want to highlight that I think really help vault this forward, specifically in 2019, specifically for Nintendo. One, it is the game on this list that is the most comparable to what we know and enjoy outside of the Nintendo bubble. It is the most comparable to other top-tier tentpole titles on other platforms, especially if they are able to expand, balloon out that world, balloon out your options and exploration. So that really, I think, stands out. And then the second point is, if you look at this list, yes, there is some sort of multiplayer in Animal Crossing, and there is co-op in Yoshi Crafted, and there is co-op in Daemon X Machina. They don't have hardly any competitive multiplayer titles, and if we're right on them having a big multiplayer aspect to Metroid Prime 4, that would fill a huge void, because if you look at this list, I think that's what's missing. We've had great games like Mario Tennis Aces, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, obviously, even like Pokken Tournament, and across the board, multiplayer has been a big part of the Switch lineup. It's very single-player focused for 2019, so hey, like something new to move on to from Splatoon or from Mario Kart, like that's going to be really important, and hopefully this is the game that does that.
Yeah, Smash is of course going to come into play as well, but last time we got Metroid Prime 3, like that was in August 27, 2007. So long ago, Zach. It's
11
been over
years.
Yeah, it's been over a decade. It's time
I didn't look any different.
Yeah, it's time for Samus to make a return, and yeah, it's hard not to put this as number one. My only concern is that historically, Metroid hasn't sold super well. Like you mentioned,
Correct.
it like being like they're like big franchise. Like that's never what the franchise has been. If they could somehow make it that, then fantastic.
I think they kind of have. I mean, Pokemon will be the marketed title as like, hey, this is the big thing, but none of these have the potential, I feel, like Metroid Prime does. I mean, you could say Animal Crossing, but even that, like, I don't know. I feel like Metroid Prime 4 is going to get a big... Like, it's their crossover title, I feel. And you could argue that, Animal Crossing is because it appeals to so many different kinds of gamers and so many ages across the board. But I feel like I mentioned, you're going to run into a year with The Last of Us 2, and you're going to go into a year with Halo Infinite, and you're going to go into a year with all of these anthems and like games that are so impressive in scope, scale, and just polish. Metroid Prime is like what they can kind of hoist up and say, hey, we can do this too.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Man, it's going to be an exciting year all around, Zach. Like, these are 9 games, and we're obviously leaving some stuff out that may still happen. We don't know about the Bayonetta date at all. That's why it wasn't included here. There's some other stuff that isn't directly made by Nintendo, but still exclusive to Switch. That's, like, super exciting. So, it's going to be a fantastic year.
Yeah, very good. Okay, let's run through this list one more time before you guys give us your take. Number 9, New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. Number 8, Daemon X Machina. Number 7, Yoshi Crafted World. Number 6, Town. Number 5, Animal Crossing. Number 4, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Number 3, Luigi's Mansion 3. Number 2, Pokemon 2019. And at the number 1 spot, Metroid Prime 4. Let's throw in a little bonus ticket here, Gabe. Which of these games do you think is most likely to slip and not hit a 2019 intended release?
Metroid.
No. Yes. I think that one's going... It's Town. It's got to be Town.
No, we have seen gameplay for Town.
Sure.
We know that there is gameplay for Town. I'm sure there is gameplay for Metroid. Guys, don't get angry, but we don't know that. Like,
right? No,
we haven't seen it.
I don't think Metroid's slipping. I think a Metroid slip into 2020, 2 years after the title reveal, would be very odd.
Yeah, it's not unprecedented. Zelda did it.
Sure. So you punch your ticket for Metroid Prime slipping.
Yeah, I don't think it delays, but I mean, if any of these are, I feel like that would be the one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they like lay these out, and if there is room for any sort of surprise or any other ports or whatnot. But let us know in the comments down below. what your order is, which of these games is on top of your list for most excited 2019 Nintendo release, and why. Give us some good reasons, some juicy details, make a case. I want to see someone pitch New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for top of the list. That's what I'm most eager for. I want to see someone pitch Yoshi Crafted for top of the list, and I definitely want someone to tell Gabe why Fire Emblem Three Houses should not be in his top 2. But for now, that's our list. Let us know what you think in the comments down below, everybody. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and eventually this slew of games. It's going to be a crazy year. Don't forget, we still have a couple big ones, Mario Party, Smash, Pokemon to go this year, but then, man, once we enter 2019, it's going to be crazy, and that is a good thing. So follow us on Twitter and Discord. We got links in the description below. Until next time, for myself and Gabe, thanks so much for watching. Once again, we love you. Switch Force, out.